The spoon paused halfway to my lips. I'd seen it, his hand, quick, nervous, trembling slightly as he stirred something into my bowl. He thought I hadn't noticed, but I had. And when he left the table to grab his phone, I switched the bowls. Quiet, precise, my pulse steady even as my stomach turned to ice. When he came back, he smiled at me. The smile of a man who believed he was about to erase a problem. His problem, me. 30 minutes later, I watched his face pale, his hands clutch at his chest, and I sat still, spoon untouched, waiting. When I met Daniel, he was charming in the way only liars know how to be. Effortless, practiced, magnetic. He sold me the idea of a safe life, promises whispered in the dark, a future drawn in neat lines, stability, family, trust. I believed him. For years I believed him. I ignored the cracks, the little lies, the absences, the shadows that trailed him home. I told myself marriage meant patience, love meant forgiveness, until the patience ran dry and the forgiveness turned into suspicion. The first time I knew for certain, it was small. A credit card statement, 2 hotel charges. He claimed it was business, but the perfume on his shirt wasn't mine. Then came the whispered calls outside, the half-erased texts, the nights he came home with guilt dripping off him like sweat. I didn't confront him, not yet. I learned to listen instead. He was reckless when he thought I was asleep, sloppy when he believed I was broken enough not to notice. But the night he slipped something into my soup, thinking he could silence me forever, that was the night his betrayal sharpened into something lethal. Most people panic when they realize their spouse is trying to kill them. I didn't. I felt clarity, cold, surgical clarity. I didn't shout. I didn't question. I didn't ask him why. I already knew the answer. Another woman, another life, a future without me. What he didn't know was that I'd been preparing for this moment long before the soup. Quietly moving money, quietly documenting every detail, quietly building a case strong enough to hang him by his own noose. All I had to do was wait for him to tie the knot. The bowl was the beginning. I slid it across the table like nothing had changed. Watched him lift the spoon. Listened to the scrape of ceramic and silver, every mouthful sealing his fate. I mirrored him, feigning calm, though I never touched mine. Then, as his body began to betray him, sweat slicking his brow, pupils blown wide, I reached for my phone. Not to call an ambulance, no. I opened the folder I had built over months, photos, receipts, recordings. His double life in pixels and paper, his affairs, his theft, his plan to cash out my life insurance. I sent it all, straight to my lawyer, to his employer, to his parents, to the woman he thought he would run away with. Then I dialed 911. Not for him, for me. My voice steady, rehearsed. My husband collapsed at dinner. I think he's poisoned. By the time the paramedics arrived, he was half-conscious, slurring my name. His eyes begged me to fix it, to undo what he himself had done. I leaned close, my words a whisper only he could hear. You tried to bury me, Daniel, but you dug your own grave. They wheeled him out on a stretcher, IVs dangling, sirens wailing. Neighbors peered from their porches, murmurs rippling through the dark. And then the police arrived, evidence in hand. The story was simple. He poisoned himself. Intent clear as day. Motive obvious in the files I had so generously provided. He lived, barely, but he didn't walk out free. He woke in a hospital bed with handcuffs biting his wrists. His empire crumbled, his lovers gone, his reputation shattered. And me? I walked away clean, untouched, the dutiful wife who survived a husband's attempt on her life. They believed me, because I had planned for them to. Now, when I close my eyes, I don't see his smile. I see the moment he realized the truth. That I had seen him. That I had outplayed him. That the poison meant for me had only unmasked him. Revenge wasn't an act, it was a mirror, and Daniel choked on his own reflection. People ask me if I feel guilty. I don't. I didn't kill him. I only handed him his own weapon. The night he tried to end me was the night I was reborn, not as his wife, not as his victim, but as the woman who walked away smiling, while he counted his last breaths.